Okay, I'm gonna do my makeup, which is why, like, if you think I look rough, it's because I do. Oh yeah. So I recently started taking new medication. I'm currently should I share my? I'm taking an antidepressant, I'm taking a mood stabilizer, and I recently started an antipsychotic. And that's what I guess this video is about, antipsychotics and like how it's affecting me. Like the title is very literal. I kind of already thought of the title. I was just like, yeah, I used to have voices in my head and now they're gone and I miss them. Now, okay, I don't know about everyone else, but when I heard you talk about hearing voices, I always thought like it literally meant like multiple voices and like they're all different. So I was like, I'm not hearing voices in my head. No, it turns out just like any type of multiple voices is hearing voices in your head. Because for me, they all sound like my voice. I guess I'll start with my face. I got this new cushion foundation from Tier Korean while I was in LA for a little bit. Works very well. Very, very, very well. But yeah, it turns out just any kind of voices. And the thing with me is like when I would hear the voices, it wouldn't really be okay. Another reason I thought it was just like I wasn't hearing voices is because a lot of people have that associated with like a really negative sort of thing, right? Of like the voices are telling me to like kill someone or myself. And like I have like one voice like that out of like several. So I was like, okay, I know I have that one, but that's like my depression. And that's been around for like over a decade, like half my life. So I don't think that's voices, that's a voice. And to me, like all the other voices, they sounded more like, well, I have a lot of things that I might have or do have. For example, I'm autistic and my therapist that I have been seeing for a little bit suspects I also have ADHD and OCD. Fun. So even before I got like diagnosed with autism and stuff, I just kind of like figured like I'm pretty sure I have autism because I did a lot of research on it. And that's just kind of how the voices felt in my head of like, there's my autism voice, there's my ADHD voice, there's my anxiety voice, and then there's me. And I'm just kind of like in the middle of all the voices. So like ultimately I would always be like the final decision maker, right? Like they don't have control over me. It's not like I have DID, dissociative identity disorder, of like there are multiple identities in me. They're all me, but they're all different versions of me and they have different goals and different desires. So when it's the most annoying is when I need to do something and they're all arguing in my head. Like, for example, I will come back from class or school or like a long day and one of the voices is like, you need to go shower, like you are dirty right now. And if you want to, like, I personally don't, I have like a way of doing things. I have a way of doing things. And if I'm in my outside clothes, I can't be in my bed. I don't like to be in my chair either, but like I've kind of given up on that. But just generally, I need to be clean to really access my room and my space. So that part of my brain is like, you need to clean so that you can like, you know, adjust into your space and like have that freedom. But my other voice is like, oh, but you have that like assignment due. And like you should actually get that started first. Because if you don't start now, you're not going to do it later. And then another voice is like, oh, but you're kind of hungry right now, so you should eat something first. And then another voice is like, I don't want to do any of these things. I am so tired. I would rather just like sit here and rot for a little bit. And it just goes like that, on and on and on. They all argue in my head. They're all like, no, this is more important. You should do this. No, like I don't want to, or like yada, yada, yada. You know, also, do you see this? My skin looks so good. Like on its own, it's already been looking good lately, but with this cushion foundation, miracle worker, truly. I got it because I use concealer, but I don't really have like an overall skin thing. But this just like is incredible. It is a little bit more warm than my actual skin tone is, like, so it's a little bit yellow, but yeah, but you know, as it is. But yeah, so then I will end up being debilitated. I can't do anything because I can't decide which voice is like more prominent, is right, because they're all my voice. So actually I think all of those things, they're all me. They're just different parts of me and they all have different goals again. And this was a really big problem for me in college. Less so in high school because I had the accountability of my parents. So like, for example, I can't shower at like 2 a.m. because I would wake my parents up and they would be like, what are you doing? But in college, I don't have that sort of accountability or like a reason that I need to do things at certain times. It's just kind of my schedule. So that meant there were a lot of days where I had multiple nights, especially in my second year of college, in my third year, but like mostly my second year, where I would literally sit on my chair just scrolling on my phone while my brain is fighting for hours. I would go to sleep at 5 a.m. because I can't do anything. Yeah, and I wouldn't even end up doing, like, I literally wouldn't end up doing anything. I would not often, I would sometimes give up on the whole notion of like showering. I'm just like, whatever. I'm not a very sweaty person, so it's like, it's not that big of a deal anyways. And I would sleep, but sometimes I would just sleep on the top of my covers so that I'm not, you know, like, I'm not infecting. I have been having a really hard struggle with words lately, which is really annoying. I have all the words in my head, I just can't pinpoint them when I need them, which is really annoying. But I'm not contaminating the inside of my bed. Or I would sleep inside and then I would have like a kind of like a timer countdown until like the next time I'll wash my sheets. And it has to be soon, because then every time I sleep in that bed, I am going to feel nasty. I will be acutely aware of the fact that I slept in that bed while unwashed. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing like a makeup thing of like, this is what I'm using. It really doesn't matter because I use the same like products all the time. And they're also all incredibly old. The newest thing is that cushion foundation. I need water, holy. I need a wallet to sponsor me so bad. I don't need PR. I personally don't really like clutter and waste and collectibles, little trinkets. I don't like them because I hate how much space they take. They gather dust. I don't know what to do with all of them. Yeah. But I love a wallet, okay? I really love a wallet. And I have convinced so many people to get a wallet because of my whole pitch, okay? Here, I'll give you a TLDR of the spiel. Size, perfect for a car. Well, this one specifically, this is the 24 ounce, I'm pretty sure, or 16. One of the two. 24 ounce. Fits perfectly into your car, like, seat thing. Not all water bottles do, you know? It has, like, a handle, and the handle also goes in, so it doesn't have to always be there. You can flip it open, so then, the lid, the mouth is covered, so it's not gonna get dirty. It has a straw and an open lid. So in cars, that's perfect. You have a straw, bam, but the straw's not open to nasty things. And if you're, you know, you're the hell's the word, you're not famished, whatever, you're thirsty, you want to chug some water, bam, you start chugging. Anyways, yeah, I would struggle a lot, and it's not fun to struggle, seriously. Because then once I'm in that state, then the depression voice, which is usually actually not the most prominent, it tends to be a bystander until it sees the chance to step in, and then it takes over everything. But the more I like kind of fail to do things and I struggle with stuff, the more opportunity it has to be like, you suck. And the less I have like evidence to prove that I don't. It's a lot of blush I did. So then it's almost like it catches me where I'm most weakest, and then I don't have an argument I can make. I can't be like, no, I'm not weak, I'm strong. Look, see, I can do all these things. Because it's like, well, no, I can't do all those things. I failed. So then I become depressed. And also, because I'm not doing anything, I'll also get anxious. It's not fun. Anyways, yeah, so I would have those voices, and got really, really bad last year where I couldn't even whoa, that's a lot of powder. I couldn't discern the voices. I couldn't like tell what was good for me and bad for me, because some of those voices, like, they're not trying to bring me any harm, they just want the best for me, right? Sometimes it does want harm for me, and it's not good. But at a certain point last year, I just couldn't discern what was right and what wasn't. And part of that was because of who I was surrounded by, and like the sort of situation and context that I was in, where once when my voices, I understand my voices. Once other people's opinions and thoughts and expectations become mixed in, I get lost. Because I'm a very big people pleaser. So then some of my voices start to go that way, but then others don't. And then suddenly my voices are splitting up amongst themselves. And like a really good example is when I am dating, I tend to follow around my partner. Just a bad habit. And I've become very codependent. That's very bad. But I do. And that means I don't get to follow a lot of my routines. And I'm a person that needs routine. Like, not the same routine all the time and not like exact, but I do need routine, otherwise I fall apart. So I was falling apart, and my brain is like, well, you need to get back on your routine so you can stop falling apart. And I'm like, okay, you're right. But then my other brain is like, oh, but then like, what is it? You're gonna inconvenience your partner, and you want them to love you, so you just have to like deal with it. And also, like, you know, you're a strong person, you don't need a routine, like you can just get through it, and you can also do it in your own time, and blah 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 blah. And that's where I like start to get lost, because I'm like, okay, well, it is right that I need routine, but it's also right that like I don't actually need it and I can like deal without it. And I do want to spend more time with the person that I love over, you know, cleaning my room or something. But since the other voice is also right, I do start to fall apart, and I'm like crashing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do this and that and that. But then my other brain is like, no, but like it's fine. Just like get it together, and as long as you're like, you know, doing what you have to do, like it's gonna be fine. Easier said than done. What was I gonna do? I did powder, I did blush, did my eyebrows, whatever I do to them. I need to take modeling digitals. Okay, I might not do any more makeup actually. I'll keep yapping though. Yeah, I'm trying to apply to some modeling agencies, which is so wild. I think I might have a chance because I'm not stereotypically pretty. I think I have interesting features. And then I can do some cool things. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is, I'll get lost in those voices, and when I do get lost, nothing makes sense. Literally, my entire life starts to feel upside down because I can't trust what I'm being told and what I want to accomplish and my daily life. The voices start to become like the stereotypical voices that you think when people say like, I'm hearing voices of like, they're all like yelling at me. They're all kind of being very aggressive and mean and just kind of there, and they're all telling me to do things because those voices are not getting what they want and I have no control over them now, they start to get really mean and say like things like, you need to break up with your boyfriend, or like, you are such an idiot, like why can't you just do things the way you're supposed to, like you know what's good for you, why can't you do it, and all these sorts of things. And it sucks. It really sucks, because then it's like, not only am I not getting what I need and I'm not able to discern what I need, I'm also not getting berated by like 5 different things in my head. And because I'm also falling apart, I'm also getting berated by people in my real life. Like my partners will start to get like kind of like frustrated with me, or like we'll end up fighting, and I will feel terrible because I know that I'm putting them in a position where they are not gonna win. Like, there's no good out. I'm crying and I'm frustrated with them and they're trying to help, but okay, but see, I've also just like, my partners and I have just not been very compatible, I think. So it's like, I can't blame them, and I don't, but I also like, there's a little bit of blame, and I also can't blame myself, but also I ran out of storage, as I do. I need to organize my files so bad. That's not the point. What was I talking about? Something about the voices, partners, compatibility, something. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. The overall point is just that, like, yeah, I get lost in the voices, and then I start to become an actually crazy person. Crazy, quote unquote. There's a lot of nuance to all of it, and people are so mean about mental health, and it's still incredibly stigmatized because now it's just kind of like if you're depressed or anxious, it's like that's understandable because oh, everyone gets depressed and anxious, and like it's not your fault that you have to deal with those things. But as soon as you start like actually being mentally ill, like even with depression and anxiety, if like you start, you know, being like flaky because you just can't motivate yourself to get out of bed, or like people can't take care of their hygiene, or like all these sorts of things, it's like then suddenly it's, well, they are responsible for their own selves and they should, you know, take time off of school or like work, or like they should ask for help. It's like, oh my gosh, do you think like they aren't trying? Like even especially about the asking for help part, it's like they have, if they are at that point, they have definitely reached in some way, in some capacity, and people have not responded. Like, it is not a healthy, happy person does not skip taking a shower for like a week or doesn't eat for a week. That is a sign of someone who like is beyond their own capacity of help. Like they can only do so much from that point. Like you wouldn't expect like a person who has like a broken arm or leg to, you know, do everything that they normally would because they're incapacitated, they're disabled. Mental illness and health is the same thing. They are only capable of so much as they usually are. And that's the same for me when the voices get really crazy and I start to lose my... Okay, so I just gave up on trying to take it on my video, or I gave up on trying to take the video on my phone because I just keep saying I don't have storage even though I deleted a bunch of stuff. Anyways, I'm about to wrap up anyways. Yeah, it's just mental health is the same as physical health. Of when people reach a certain point, it's not up to them on how well they are able to. It's not. They are not. It is the collective responsibility to make sure that they are also going to be able to function and live as close to a regular life as any normal person would. And I say collective responsibility because I do understand that like taking care of someone who is mentally ill or physically ill or like anything is like it's hard and it can be a full-time job, and that's why there are carers. But that's why like it shouldn't be an individual person. It should be a collective, it should be a community. But most people don't want to do that work. It's not the mentally ill person's fault. And I wish more people would understand that. Anyways, back to the whole topic of the video, the voices. I told my internist who prescribes me my medication right now that I have these multiple sorts of things in my head that are being told, and she was like, describe them. I'm like, well, it's not like voices because they're all my voice, but like this one that says like this, and this one does this, and sometimes I get really incapacitated and like I get debilitized by all the voices telling me different things. And she was like, I'm gonna put you on antipsychotic, and I was like, but like I'm not, but okay. So I started taking it because I was like, okay, whatever, like I'll just listen to her. Yeah. And then the next time we met, like about like 2 weeks after I started taking the medication, she was like, have you still been hearing the voices? And I was like, because I was like, I don't, and I haven't in a while, I think. I was like, I'm not sure. And for these past few days, I think I can confirm that like I haven't been hearing voices. It's just all me. And it feels really strange. It's like it feels like my brain should feel emptier, but it's almost like because in my head it was like a conference room with all the voices sometimes, of like that big long table, and they're all like around it in these individual, you know, spots, and they're all like, you know, banging the table and like going across and like yelling at each other and stuff sometimes. And I'm just like at the door, you know, like the nervous assistant, just like, oh gosh, I hope none of these people fire me kind of thing. But it's almost like as if it's not just that big conference room anymore. The conference is done. It's just me in my office. Yeah. And so that singular voice, my voice is not ringing through this empty room. It's just this enclosed space. And I don't know. It's I have been functioning like how I imagine most people function, and it's very confusing to me because I have not been at that level for more than half of my life. I have been depressed since I was in 5th grade. I'm 22 now. It's a lot. And it's really strange how long term I am able to function right now. I have been doing really well for like about 2 months, I think, straight. That's really, really good for me. Without like any sort of anxiety or depression, that's like more than like a day or two. Because I'll still get some of those things, but they'll be very short. And it's really strange. I'm not used to this at all. And it almost feels like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. But like I'm just in such a good mental state that I'm optimistic and I don't actually feel anxiety from that waiting. It's just like well, if it'll come, it'll come. Where is this nonchalance coming from? What do you mean? I used to get anxiety about the idea of having anxiety. Yeah. But like I guess like the title says, like I do miss those voices sometimes because I still talk to myself anyways, and it is like I talk to myself in a different voice than as if it's just me. But different from that, when I had all those voices, it was like I had that conference table was helpful sometimes. Of like I have these multiple areas from which I can draw from and ask questions to, and I would get answers. And it's not just like this ambiguous sort of thing in my head. I can feel myself thinking. Like, since those were all different parts of my brain, I can still feel them thinking. They just don't have personified voices. And sometimes I do, like, wish I had those voices, but apparently I'm not supposed to have them. And, they also did make my life difficult at times. So, I'll take what I can get. But I feel like it shouldn't be demonized. And I didn't even know I was hearing voices in my head. I didn't know that's what it would be defined as. I always thought it was just multiple voices as in like literal, different, like voice timbre and like tone and things. Nope. If there's anything that's multiple, apparently is right up the alley. Anyways, that's like pretty much it. If you guys made it to the end of this video again, thank you. And if this was interesting to you, let me know, because I'm just kind of yapping about whatever about myself. And this was just very fascinating to me. I find my voices and the loss of them very fascinating. So, yeah. Bye-bye.